Hey everybody, how are you today? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I haven't done a video on here in quite a while, so I thought I would hop on here and say hello to everybody. I have gained 32 subscribers in the last month, and I am so excited about that. Thank you so much, everybody, for subscribing to my channel. I hope you are enjoying it. All of the songs that I sing for you, and a couple of unboxings and things like that. So that's basically what I do on this channel. I sing and I do unboxings of stuff. I do vlogging, personal vlogging, that type of thing. And I'm so appreciative of all of you, so thank you so much. Took me 4 years. I'm finally at 825 subscribers. So thank you to everybody. I appreciate you. So for those of you who are brand new, I think most of you know that I lived in Nashville for like 21 years, basically Tennessee for 21 years. We moved around a little bit. You know, we were always within the vicinity of Nashville most of the time. And then we went over to East Tennessee for about 3 years. And then I went back to Nashville after my husband passed away in 2013. But when we were there, I did a few gigs in Nashville. I performed at a bar for a couple of months and did a couple of paid gigs around town, like weddings and things like that. And my husband's health was deteriorating, so I had to stop my pursuit of a full-time singing career, which is why we moved there. But it just turned out that it was not in the cards for us. So I stuck to my day job, which was always medical transcriptionist at various different hospitals in Nashville. And then in 1999, we had the opportunity to have a child, and we had hoped to raise her to 18, but it didn't work out that way. We had her for 10 months, and then her birth mother got custody of her, so that was very devastating. But from then on, we just, we worked on our country music magazine. When we first moved to Nashville, we had started a country music magazine back in Dallas, Texas, when we lived there. And this was before the internet. It was what you called the bulletin boards, and I was very interested in country music. I always was. So I was doing a lot of reviews of CDs. So when we moved to Nashville, we kind of expanded that out and called it Country Views. And we got in touch with a bunch of publicists in town, let everybody know who we were and what we were doing. And we spent 3 years doing the magazine. Dave was my editor. He would do everything on the computer. And we had the opportunity to go to a bunch of shows to cover the shows. I mean, it was a magical time of my life. Hold on. We were invited to shows to do reviews of just a handful. I mean, we saw so many people and got to meet them, but very briefly. Usually in these situations, the artist will go into a room and all the press is there and they're asking questions and everything. So I got to meet Pam Tillis, Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, Reba McEntire, Brian White, Tracy Lawrence, John Barry, Martina McBride, and all the people that were popular in the 90s. We were able to meet pretty much all of them in our country music work. So that was a lot of fun, and really enjoyed that. And Martina McBride is one of my most favorite country artists, and I was so thrilled to get to meet her. The first time I met her was at the Country Radio Seminar, and that is a seminar that the country industry has, the radio industry has every year. And all of the artists come together in this one place, and it's usually at the Opryland Hotel. And, they just interview with all the radio stations. And I just happened to be there, and I was at the concert there. And Martina was sitting at a table with her husband. And I had asked her if I could take a photo. And she said yes. So that was really sweet of her. Then a year later, she was doing a benefit concert at the Opry for Christmas for Kids. And I saw her again, and I asked her if she would sign my photo, and she said, "Oh, I remember you." And that was just, really amazing that she could remember somebody a year later, that she had met and signed a photo. I've seen Martina 5 times in concert. I absolutely adore her. The woman has the most angelic voice I've ever heard, and she's my absolute favorite. I got to meet Reba very quickly at a skeet shoot in Nashville. And all of these wonderful pictures that we took, unfortunately, got left behind when I had to leave East Tennessee. My husband had just passed away, and I was shell shocked. And I didn't have the rent. I was trying to get rent from agencies, there in Sevierville, and I just couldn't get any help. And so I let the landlord bamboozle me and tell me to move out within 2 weeks. I should have just held my ground and, stayed there. But I just left out of there in a panic, and I left so many things behind. And unfortunately, the ones I left behind were all of the cartridges to all of these beautiful photos that we had taken with everybody. I have just a handful of them left. I still have an 8x10 of myself and Leanne Rimes, George Jones, but I had so many, but I had to leave so much behind. But, the memories are there, and I had such a wonderful time. So that's kind of a little bit of my background as far as, what we did in the past and my singing and all that. I swear I was singing when I came out of my mother's womb. I've always been very, very musical. My dad was an amazing singer, and he sung a lot with my mother. My stepmother, she would always play the piano. And so music was always in our lives, and they would take me to Broadway shows because we didn't live too far from New York City. I want to say half hour, 45 minutes maybe from New York City. So we saw a lot of the Broadway plays in the 60s when I was little. We would see Fiddler on the Roof, Mame, George M. Cohan. There was a Broadway show about him. And we just, we had a really, really musical life. So I've always had music in my life. And I was very, very lucky in high school to have a choir director who was very, very, very helpful in helping us learn how to sing properly. It was a choir, but he would really, really work with us, and show us how to breathe and show us techniques. So my singing training actually started in high school, around, I want to say, well, how old was I? 15, 16 maybe. And then later, a year or so later, I took more professional lessons from a professional singing teacher. And so that is why I sing as I do today, because I've had a lot of training, I've had a lot of practice, and it's my art. So I really, really enjoy it. And also, now I'm in Vermont. I used to live in Tennessee. After my husband passed away in 2013, it was pretty rough going for me after that. And we don't need to go into all that, but I came up here in 2018 because I had found my family again. My cousins and I had not been in touch for over 4 years. And I was almost at the end of my rope, and I decided to find my family and found out that my girl cousin was up here in Vermont. And of course, her brothers are down in New York, where I grew up in Westchester County. So I came up here in 2018, and I needed to be up here at the time I needed my cousins. I needed love, and I got it. So, I finally had a family, and I was so happy. I love Vermont. The best thing about Vermont is that their social services are absolutely exceptional. Back in Tennessee, you had to jump through hoops to get on Medicaid, and to get any kind of help from Tennessee was rough because I was only in my 50s, all right? If you're a senior citizen over 65, you can get a lot more help in Tennessee. But, I was pretty young, and when my husband passed away, I could not get his Social Security payments yet because you had to be 62 at the earliest in order to start getting your widow's benefits. So I started getting those at 62. And so I just came up here, and it's been nice. I was able to get on Medicaid right away because of my income. Despite my excellent experience in secretarial work, in medical secretarial work, I went to so many interviews when I got here, and I never could get a job, and I never understood that because my last job I excelled at, and I got fantastic reviews all the time. So I wound up working at McDonald's. And a lot of people put down people who work at fast food, but I tell you, it's hard. I mean, it's not as hard as being a medical secretary or being in a call center like I was. But hey, those people work their asses off in these fast food restaurants, and I actually loved it because I was actually burned out from, being in call centers for the last couple of years, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. And it was actually a nice change for me. So I worked at McDonald's, I want to say, for about a year, and I enjoyed it very, very much. I was a cashier. I would take care of the store. I would make sure that the floors were mopped and everything was looking good, and I enjoyed it a lot. And then I hurt my back, so I had to quit McDonald's for a while. And then I started at Dunkin', and I loved Dunkin'. When I first started, it's very stressful at these places, okay? And Dunkin' was really, their cash register was so discombobulated. There were so many different buttons for so many things. At McDonald's, you just hit a button for a cheeseburger, hit a button for a Big Mac. At Dunkin', you would do the coffee button, right? And then you had to put how many sugars they wanted. Then you had to put what toppings they wanted, and this topping and that and there was just so many different things. It was crazy. So eventually, and I had the supervisor from hell. I mean, she was terrible. She would yell at me and say, you need to learn how to do this, and blah, 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 blah. She was awful, and if I didn't need the job, I would have quit right away because she was horrible. And so eventually she decided to put me in the back and do all of the prepping with the food instead of the front. So they actually made that position for me. And I loved it. I worked there for 3 years. I would still be there if I hadn't lost my car last November. And it was quite a big, trying to think of the word, just very, very traumatic when I lost that job. I was getting Social Security, and I had the job, and I was able to eat and, do what I had to do, take care of my cat. But when I lost the job, my income just went. So I've been living just on Social Security since last November, and it's been tough, very tough. But I don't have the means to get another car. I had a friend who was very, very wonderful to me, and she had gotten me a car. And once that car died, I was not about to ask her or anybody else to get me another car. So I've been without a car now since last November. And thankfully, though, we do have a transportation company here that provides rides for our citizens here in this small little town in Vermont. And they've been a godsend. They take me to my doctor's appointments when I have to go. And now that I'm over 65, they can give me rides to the store. That's a program that they have for seniors. So I'm getting along pretty good, believe it or not. Thank God. It's just monetarily, I'm not doing well at all. But join the club, right? I mean, I'm not the only one. There are so many seniors that are really, really struggling. And, but I'm hanging in there. So, yeah. So that's a little bit about me. I am 65 years old. I've been blessed with good skin, which is why I don't really look my age. But if you look very closely, you can see that I have some weird bumps all over my forehead, even if I get closer here. Believe it or not, it has been 14 months since I fell on my face last year. Okay. I went to go see Keith Urban. I'm a huge Keith Urban fan. Everybody knows that. I have seen every single tour of his for the past 10 years. Anywhere he goes, I go to him. When I lived in Nashville, I went to Nashville. When I lived in Knoxville area, I went to Knoxville. I actually drove from Gatlinburg to Charlotte one year. So last year, I drove to New Hampshire, and I saw Keith. I had seen him there like 2 years before. And I was so excited, and I thought that I was drinking enough, okay? I mean, I was drinking water. I was putting water all over my face to keep me hydrated. So, he came on stage, and I was excited. But the problem was there was a man 2 rows in front of me who had to be at least 6'2". And he stood up during the whole damn concert. And I was too scared to pat him on the back and say, "Would you mind sitting down so I can see?" And I felt fine. I didn't think anything was wrong, okay? But I had gotten so annoyed over the fact that I really couldn't see Keith. I mean, I could see him on the screens, that they have, but not close enough that I could get good pictures of him. Every year I get amazing pictures of Keith. So I got up out of my seat and I went over to the side and I started taking pictures of Keith. And then my back started hurting and my legs started hurting. So I decided that I would go down the stairs and go out into the foyer area where all the concession stands are. I was feeling fine. So I went down the stairs. I went and I sat on a stone wall. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up on the ground face down. I had passed out, even though I didn't feel dizzy or anything. And so that was about halfway through the show. And you should have seen my face. I mean, I looked like I had been beat up. I mean, I had so many cuts and bumps on my head. And I am just amazed that 14 months later, I still have these bumps and lumps all over my head. I did not have a concussion, which is amazing to me. But the thing is, I'm still getting those headaches, like here where you can see that bump, I'll get headaches. I'll get headaches over here. And it's just crazy to me that I still have all of these bumps on my head. And, I'm in the true crime community, and people make fun of poor Bullhorn Betty. Well, not poor Bullhorn Betty. She is a menace to the true crime community. But she has the same thing. She's got deep crevices in her face and everything, and people make fun of her. And I'm like, well, you just don't know, she may have been in an accident or something like me, and I always kind of feel a little bit annoyed when people make fun of all of her bumps and lumps and stuff, with her history, she most likely she was in fights with people all the time. I mean, the girl has a list of criminal acts that she's done over the years, and she tends to get pretty physical. We've gone over, Burnt Toast has gone over her criminal history in the past, and Betty likes to strangle people, unfortunately. Back in those days, she was rough, and she'd hit people, and she'd strangle people and everything. It was crazy. But anyway, that's my story about my head, in case you're noticing what all this is on my head. So, the greatest thing that happened to me in the last 2 years was that I saw Louis Capaldi in April. Oh, he was awesome. You should know Louis Capaldi. He sang Someone You Loved, Before You Go. He's an amazing singer. I was so excited to see him. I went with my friend. Well, I met with some people I had met on YouTube. And we had a great time. It was a very, very nice time, and I loved it all so much. Kind of broken up with them right now. But yeah, so that is my story. And just wanted to introduce myself to everybody, let you know. I have Winnie. She is my cat, my little black cat. Winnie, 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 Winnie. She's a cutie. I like her. Are you a pretty boy? Are you a pretty girl? She's a pretty girl. Alrighty, guys. So that's about it for now. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks so much for subscribing. And I hope you look forward to new songs, new vlogs, new videos. And I will see you guys next time.